I believe we found the man responsible for the live action atrocities as of late. In this article from the New York Times, the man reimagining Disney classic for today's world. How lovely. Sean Bailey is in charge of live action remakes because they don't have any original ideas of films like The Little Mermaid that is bombing at the box office. It's a job that puts him in the middle of a partisan divide. I don't know about you, but I don't remember Disney being partisan 20, 30 years ago. They made movies, they made entertaining fantasy escapism for people to sit back and enjoy and forget about the problems in their real world, in their lives. But no, this wonderful human being right here has other plans for Disney's live action. For more than a decade, Sean Bailey has run Disney's animated film reimagining factory with quiet efficiency and superhero-sized results. Live-action Aladdin barely collected $1.1 billion at the box office thanks to the thanks to the worldwide box office, the international box office, while the photorealistic Lion King did a massive 1.7 billion and the live-action Beauty and the Beast delivered 1.3. It's interesting that they're only talking about the successful live-action remakes. They don't want to talk about, what was it, Cruella or Dumbo, Mulan, and they're definitely not, well, no, they do talk about The Little Mermaid later on, but what about Peter Pan and Wendy? The atrocity that was, the catastrophic failure. They didn't even release it to theaters. They had so much confidence in that. Disney likes cash. You can't tell with the garbage failures that they've been putting out. The company also views Mr. Bailey's remake operation as crucial to remaining relevant. Yeah, no. Disney's animated classics are treasured by fans. Yes, then why are you butchering them? You know the fans love the classics. They are little bitty hour and a half to 2 hour breaks from reality. They're not based in the real world. They weren't based in any sort of real world ideological nonsense when they were made. But, as the article says, most showcase ideas from another era, especially when it comes to gender roles, because, did anybody else watch the movie Brave? Okay. Be pretty, girls, and things might work out. Oh, God. What's wrong with that? What's wrong? I mean, throughout history, women have been using their beauty to get what they want, to take advantage of moronic men. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I don't know. Oh, you're a misogynist. No, I mean, use your assets to your advantage. The oldest, what is it? The oldest profession known to man. I'm smacking again. Damn it. The reimaginings as Mr. God, I hate this word. The reimaginings, as Mr. Bailey refers to his atrocities, find ways to make Disney stories less retrograde. His heroines are empowered and boring and Mary Sue's and have absolutely no struggle. His heroines are empowered. His castings emphasize diversity without any sort of soul or heart or love. Diversity for diversity's sake is shallow, superficial nonsense. Live action Snow White, set for release later this year, or next year, stars Latina actress. You sure it's not Latinx? Every other freaking news outlet out there wants to use Latinx. Ugh. Latina actress Rachel Zegler as the princess known as the fairest of them all. Yara Shahidi played Tinkerbell in the most recent abomination, Peter Pan and Wendy, making her the first black woman to portray the character on screen, which is irrelevant, but if you are so superficial that you have to see the character on the screen, it's like, have there never been black women on the screen for you before? You want representation. There's representation everywhere. You want Tinkerbell? They could have done a better job with Tinkerbell, with Yara in the movie, making it brighter, more similar to the animated classic, instead of the dull, drab surrounding colors. It dulled Tinkerbell's appearance. And that's just one criticism of an absolutely terrible movie. Now, here's the main problem with this article. And quote from Mr. Bailey, "We want to reflect the world as it exists." Not, were there any popular Disney movies that reflected the world as it was at the time? Or were they more just fantastical stories with happy endings? Cliche, trope-filled stories that made you feel good. They had bad guys in them that got what they deserved. They had characters in them that struggled and prevailed come the end. But there was no genuine message other than keep trying and you'll succeed. Do the best you can. Well, maybe not the best you can, but persevere over adversity and you can succeed. The bad guy gets what they deserve. Other than that, what other sort of agenda-filled political nonsense were there in older Disney and Pixar classic movies that people just watch to this day? Most of the recent movies that both Pixar and Disney have been putting out will be forgotten 5 years from now, whereas movies like Toy Story and Brave and the original Mulan will be remembered for so many, many decades to come. The live-action reimaginings have no heart, no soul. They're just cash grabs, shallow cash grabs with, I don't know. But that worldview and business strategy, I'm going to go ahead and while I'm with the article, has increasingly put Disney and Mr. Bailey, a low-profile and self-effacing executive, in the middle of a very loud, very unpolite cultural fight. For every person who applauds Disney, there seems to be a counterpart. There's more than one. Okay, it's not one for one. There are more and more people waking up to the, as this article puts it, force-fed wokeness. And that's the problem. It's force-fed. It's not organic. If you can make a story, put a message in there. Just make it organic. Put diversity and inclusion in there, but make it organic. Have it make sense. Even the slightest bit of logical explanation in a story for why suddenly there's a black mermaid, and people will just go, okay, cool. Or, heaven forbid, you actually put some effort towards the CGI, the acting. I'm not going to criticize the singing, except for Eric singing in The Little Mermaid. That was terrible. And Awkwafina, get that fucking rap out of the movie. Do a better job with the set pieces, with the CGI, and most of all, the story. A wholesome, make it trope-filled, make it cliche, stereotypical. The girl wins in the end. The guy gets the girl. The love story, whatever. Hell, even make it the girl gets the girl. Those kind of stories really are okay, as long as the story's well done. And yeah, you have a movie. Miles Morales is in a movie right now that is making money hand over fist, and there's no overbearing, forced, ham-fisted message in this movie. There are, I guess, there's a section on the Twitter with the LGBT community that want to think that Spider-Gwen in the movie is definitely a trans woman. Heaven forbid she's just an ally, and maybe it's just an allegory for coming out. Her little story in the beginning. No, it has to be it. But it's more subtle than other stories, other ham-fisted, on the nose, right in your face, force-fed stories and agendas. Make it more subtle. Make it part of the character's journey, but not all of the character's journey. Don't make it all of the character. Don't make a character's race, gender, or sexuality the only thing about the character, and maybe more people will start coming back to your product and paying attention. Story first, message second. We've had more than enough stories over the years with agendas, with a underlying message, but the stories were well done, so you can accept the underlying messages. But too much nowadays, Hollywood is ham-fisting everything into every single story coming out. Every once in a while, you'll get a gem, again, like Across the Spider-Verse, or more recently, the Dune remake. That wasn't changed. There was a race swap and not a race swap. Yes, a race swap and a gender swap, but it didn't hurt the story. Didn't take anything away from it. It wasn't bad. I had thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Another series that came out to compare it to is Arcane. The main character in Arcane had pink hair shaved on the sides. Now, some people would see that immediately and think, oh, this is going to be woke garbage simply based on the hairstyle. Because what's happening on social media, shoved down everybody's throat. When you see that, you think of a screeching SJW who wants to talk to the manager half the time. But it was given a chance. The art style was fantastic. The stories were fantastic. The characters actually had growth. They were interesting, all because the story was written well and performed well and animated well. And I think this is something that good old Sean Bailey and Disney and Pixar and all these other studios seem to have forgotten and lost their way in this desire to become more inclusive, to have more diverse cast. They have forgotten the most important thing about entertainment when it comes to movies and cartoons, animation, live action, whatever. And that is the story. The only thing Marvel movies have become is nonsensical spectacles to get you from one action set piece to another, and forgotten character progression and forgotten the story. Get back to that, and maybe you can pull more and more customers back. Not consumers, customers. Actual customers. And maybe even create some lifelong customers that Disney used to have. But remember what the story is. Make the inclusion more organic. Give it a little bit of logic, and you can get the customer back. But I don't think that would require, I believe that would require Disney and Pixar and Marvel Studios and all these other places to admit, oops, they were wrong. And if they start taking the ideology out of the message, put the ideology and messages second, make the story first, they'll just have the SJWs screeching on their back because they bent the knee to the actual fans, the paying customers, the silent majority that I am always talking about, even though I am not so silent. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you enjoy this reimagining for the modern audience and the modern sensibilities? Or do you think that you just flush it in the toilet where it belongs? That's what I think. But let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike. Thank you for making it this far. See you on the next one.